What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23-1. Today, we're going to be jumping back into the courtroom once again to witness abuse of its power at its finest. A former Florida officer has been accused of leading people astray. That's right, individuals that didn't do nothing framed him and locked him up. And of course, today we're going to find out if he's going to see any time in the state penitentiary. Now, if you happen to think that this sounds entertaining and you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you enjoy. Also, check out many more electrifying videos in this perfect catalog of playlists built just for you. Zachery Wester, 28 years old, was arrested in 2019. He was accused of planting drugs in traffic stops while working for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. He faced 67 charges including racketeering, official misconduct, fabricating evidence, and false imprisonment. One thing I've said in the past to my viewers, look, if you got a clean car, just pull over, let them do their thing, search it, and be on your way. But obviously, that's not the case every single time. I can't even imagine getting pulled over and getting something planted in my car. I know for sure I'm not going to be able to beat it. Not unless they slip up in some way. A lot of people don't even know how to approach a situation like this.
It appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Now, all this body cam footage is going to show the individuals completely unaware of what he found, but they're still getting arrested. I mean, there's really nothing that you can do at this point in time. Now, I'm sure he was getting away with planting this evidence on a regular basis, but sooner or later, he's going to run into the wrong one. They say internally they became suspicious and put him on suspension in 2018. 3 years later, he's going to trial and he's pleading not guilty.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement.
Now, that was the prosecution speaking, and believe it or not, the main piece of evidence in this case is the officer's own body cam footage. You're going to see him here planting drugs on a former felon. He just got released, as a matter of fact, still on probation, and this is what he has to deal with on a simple traffic stop.
Have you ever seen this before?
No, what is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. You're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay?
Oh man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything, what you want me to do, man?
Look, I was on probation for almost 20 years of my young life. And when I was released, it was almost as though I was reborn all over again. So to see this clip, it really makes my blood boil because this guy was probably doing everything he was supposed to do. Gets pulled over thinking everything's going to be all right. Now he's facing who knows how much time he had over his head, but let's say he had 30 years. Now that he caught this fresh felony possession charge, the judge has the opportunity to give him all those 30 years back. So that's why it's so damn important to be good on probation. But what's really disgusting to me is this officer's principles and morals. He could care less that he's ripping these innocent individuals away from their loved ones. Now, there's many others taking the stand saying the exact same thing, that they allowed the officer to search the car because they knew for a fact that it was clean.
And I knew my truck was clean. I knew it was.
Now, what makes this even crazier, and I don't even know how they're able to do this, but in some of this body cam footage, key parts were deleted. There has to be some kind of protocol in place to keep this stuff from happening. He either had to have access to these videos himself, or he knew someone. Like I said, I don't know the protocol when it comes to this type of recordings, but it really makes me uneasy knowing that people can delete stuff at will like this.
Why in the world would that have been deleted?
I wish I knew that answer.
But like I say all the time, when you're doing the wrong thing, sooner or later, you're gonna mess up. And the same way he was getting convictions was with the body footage is the same way that he's gonna be convicted as well. It all starts with this young lady's traffic stop right here, Miss Teresa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Anything in the vehicle I need to be concerned about? Bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers? Okay.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people probably got pulled over and got asked the same exact question. It might sound like a joke asking about rocket launchers, grenades, and stuff like that, but it's actually a tactic. A lot of people that hear that and don't laugh or still have a very serious face, cops think they might be hiding something. Usually people hear rocket launchers and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, come on, man. Put a smile on, like, yeah, right, man. You know I ain't got that. So the officers have all kinds of tricks up their sleeve to see if the people might be up to no good. Not to mention they're looking at your eyes, smelling your breath, and scanning your vehicle as you're talking to them. Now, Miss Teresa's asked to step out of her vehicle while Mr. Wester's able to search the vehicle as well as plant whatever the hell he wants in there. Look closely, right before he puts on his gloves, his own body cam footage captures what the prosecution says is methamphetamines cuffed in his hand, right before he places it on a spoon in her car.
It is yogurt, sir.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, though?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video, had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
Now, just like in every case, a lot of people want to know what the motive was. And I'm sure the officer's defense team is saying the same thing. There is no motive, Your Honor. He doesn't know these people. There ain't no personal gain to be issued here. So why would my defendant want to lock these people up for no reason? But the prosecution thinks otherwise. He said that the officer was probably doing this to get to narcotics unit faster. Now, Mr. Wester pled not guilty all the way to the end. He chose a jury trial and it took them 5 days to come up with the verdict. With all of his charges, he was actually facing up to life in prison.
In the state of Florida versus Zachery Wester, we, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged and the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
Now, the clerk's about to go down a list of 67 charges. He's already been found guilty of racketeering, and a lot of them he actually ends up beating, but I believe 19 out of the 67 charges ends up sticking.
Count 2, not guilty. Count 3, not guilty. Count 4, not guilty. Count 5, not guilty. Count 6, not guilty. Count 7, guilty of official misconduct related to Teresa Odom as charged. Count 8, not guilty.
Pretty crazy how they're just signing them
Count
off
9,
as they go down the
guilty
list.
of official misconduct related to Joshua Manuel as charged. Count 10, guilty of official misconduct related to Stephen Van as charged. Count 11, not guilty. Count 12, not guilty. Count 13, not guilty. Count 14, not guilty. Count 15, not guilty. Count 16, not guilty. Count 17, not guilty. Count 18, not guilty. Count 19, guilty of perjury related to Teresa Odom as charged. Count 20, not guilty. Count 21, guilty of perjury related to Joshua Manuel as charged. Count 22, guilty of perjury related to Stephen Van as charged. Count 23, not guilty. Count 24, not guilty. Count 25, not guilty. Count 26, not guilty. Count 27, not guilty. Count 28, not guilty. Count 29, not guilty. Count 30, not guilty. Count 31, guilty of fabricating evidence related to Teresa Odom as charged. Count 32, not guilty. Count 33, guilty of fabricating evidence related to Joshua Manuel as charged. Count 34, guilty of fabricating evidence related to Stephen Van as charged. Count 35, not guilty. Count 36, not guilty. Count 37, not guilty. Count 38, not guilty. Count 39, not guilty. Count 40, not guilty. Count 41, guilty of possession of controlled substance related to February 15, 2018, as charged. Count 42, not guilty. Count 43, not guilty. Count 44, guilty of possession of a controlled substance related to April 17, 2018, as charged. Count 45, not guilty. Count 46, not guilty. Count 47, not guilty. Count 48, guilty of possession of a controlled substance related to August 1st, 2018, as charged. Count 49, guilty of possession of controlled substance related to August 1st, 2018, as charged. Count 50, not guilty. Count 51, not guilty. Count 52, not guilty. Count 53, not guilty. Count 54, guilty of possession of drug paraphernalia related to February 15, 2018, as charged. Count 55, not guilty. Count 56, not guilty. Count 57, guilty of possession of drug paraphernalia related to April 17, 2018, as charged. Count 58, not guilty. Count 59, not guilty. Count 60, guilty of possession of drug paraphernalia related to August 1st, 2018, as charged. Count 61, not guilty. Count 62, not guilty. Count 63, not guilty. Count 64, guilty of false imprisonment related to Teresa Odom, as charged. Count 65, guilty of false imprisonment related to Stephen Van, as charged.
I was about to say, if he wasn't
Count
found guilty of them
66,
charges,
not
I was going to be
guilty.
heated.
Count 67, not guilty.
You've robbed me of my credibility being a mother and a grandmother for the last 3 years. I've probably missed 1.5 years of my grandbaby's life because of this. I wish you no ill will, and you'll never know what you've done to me until you have children of your own, so.
He was sentenced to 12.5 years in the state penitentiary. Now, was that enough in my eyes? Not nearly. Look, they call it false imprisonment. I call it abduction, kidnapping. This guy was snatching people off the streets just like a damn human trafficker. It doesn't matter if he was trying to become narcotics, K-9 unit leader, it don't matter. He was snatching people away from their freedom and putting them in a place they didn't want to be. So 12.5 years is insulting to me. It is what it is, though. We can only learn from these situations and hope they never come our way. But just in case of an ultra rare situation like this, look, you gotta keep your composure. Let's say you were on probation facing 30 years if you get in any trouble, and you know for a fact that stuff is not yours. Can't be snapping off and getting into an altercation with an officer like this. He already don't care about a person's life if he's gonna throw him in jail for nothing. Who knows, he could pull a gun out, shoot you, and say he was defending himself. Then what? Keep your composure and try to have faith in the process. Unfortunately, though, the process doesn't always work. There's flaws in every avenue of life. I've been seeing a lot of people getting free lately that's been doing 20, 30, 40 years for a crime they never did. As long as people are getting in prison, man, it's going to happen to the end of time. Framery and misjudgment.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in your jury room, except by court order.
But that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. I really wanted to bring this one to your attention because a lot of people just can't even imagine something like this happening. A lot of Americans out there put 100% trust and faith in our law enforcement. But I'm here to tell you they're human just like you are, and they're tempted. And many people fall to this temptation every single day. But stay tuned, I got some really good interviews coming your way very shortly. I know a lot of my subscribers' first videos they ever seen was an interview, so I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. As a matter of fact, one of the people I got lined up happened to be one of my old cellmates. I told a story about him and someone outside of our cell that was sleeping on one of those little plastic boats. They were joking at each other, and my cellmate didn't really like one of the jokes that he said, and he took it personally. He said, when them gates roll, you better be ready, and dude didn't take it too seriously. Because the gates rolled and he was still asleep and got lumped up while he was dreaming about that breakfast tray coming through. SOS. Actually, I think I was getting that tray up off him that morning. Anyways, man, I got a lot of content coming your way. You know I like to change it up here and there. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I salute to every last one who've been supporting me since the beginning. And everybody who's just now joining the lockdown compound. Y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.